Yes, welcome back to the South Australian Sports Show. Well, Poppy, the Crows are motoring along just beautifully.
Beautifully.
I have said for months now, though, that I think they're going to run into the Sydney Swans. So there's only one way we could get to the bottom of this, whether it was going to be Swans or Crows, was to bring in a bloke that had played for the Swans and a bloke that had played for the Crows and won 2 premierships in a tidy.
A bloke who, when played for the Crows, got run into by the Swans.
Exactly right. A tidy, 139 games, mate, and played with Fitzroy as well, if you don't mind. Peter Cavan, our special guest. Cavo, thanks for coming in, mate.
No worries, boys.
Now, you're still at all the home games for the Crows. How have you seen their season today?
I've watched every home game. I've actually went to the Essendon game too. I mean, they've had a good season. I mean, I think they've found some players in the midfield that they weren't expecting. Consistently played pretty well. The games they've lost have been extremely poor early. No, they've only won, 9 of their last 16. So, they're travelling pretty well. I thought the bye before the final was going to be a problem, but, came out really well against GWS. Played pretty well against Sydney, although gave them a head start. So I'm saying, they're a good chance if all going well. No more injuries.
No more appendix.
Yep. That sort of scene, and I think that they look really tight. Look like they're really working for each other and want to achieve something as a group.
I was interstate just in the weekend gone, Cavo, and you see the.
You can feel free to ask why if you want.
No.
Traralgon, were you down Traralgon?
Hi, Jennifer. There you go. Hey, but I noticed the Crows were interstate too, which was a bit different. And, I think you made a case a lot to support the reason why they can go there, refresh themselves a bit physically and mentally. But my fear is that if things don't work out, that's going to be the reason why, even though it'll be unfairly.
You think Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in the Gold Coast at a mini camp for the Crows is no good?
Put it this way, we've all experienced the Adelaide media for a long, long time. And
yes.
What's your thoughts on prior to the game? I think it's a great thing.
I think, with 15-day break, it's
perfect.
It's never happened, really. They've never had a 15-day break, so there's no routine. And they don't even know who they're going to play. So the opposition can't even think about the week ahead.
Yes.
So I think it's good to refresh, get away, and it's actually probably a good team just to Don just to take them aside. There's no family. It's, they're all spending a couple of days together. They can talk about strategy. They can talk about things that are going to happen. There's going to be a lot of limelight. There's going to be pressure. Let's not worry about that just at the moment. Let's just stick to what we've been doing. Stick to the routine now. What are we going to do for the next? Which is probably going to be 10 days or 11 days by the time they get back.
Well, as a coach, you've been in control of sides, travelling and staying at home.
I think it's a terrific idea. I think what Poggy's done is terrific because it accelerates some time together, take away all the distractions, just like you said. I mean, for the players, they pull up at the petrol station and they're filling up. Everyone goes, "Oh, great win on the weekend! You're a Monty to win the grand final." So they've forgotten about they have to win another game. They're already talking to them about the grand final. So I think just those distractions taken away, the opportunity to work together as a group without disruptions, really good. Plus, I mean, at the time of it happening, Pikey wouldn't have known that it's going to be nice and warm in Adelaide. So get away to some warm weather, get away to a bit of surf. I know they had a fantastic run Tuesday morning at Broadbeach where Sloaney was in the full session. Everything went great for them. So I think it's perfect. But I agree with what you're saying. If they lose, they'll be circling like you wouldn't believe, saying it was the biggest mistake you ever made. But from my point of view, fantastic. I want to ask you this about the back line, though. I've called them the Great Wall, the moving wall. They look like, now you're an outstanding half-backman for the Crows in the 2 premierships, mate. Goes without saying. You've seen it slowly building over the course of the year. How different to when you played to what you're seeing now in that defensive back line?
I mean, Blighty would never put anyone back. There was never any zoning or back. It was always strictly one-on-one. So you've just seen the evolution of the game and their strategy. I mean, they play one guy ahead. They don't really play on a man. They play in an area, and then the system runs. If you're the next one in line, you need to be in this position, which is really a kick ahead of the ball. So they all work well together, and you still need that. At the end of the day, you still need to be sticking to a system, but instinctively, you need to go to the most dangerous person.
You mentioned Blighty, and it all of a sudden just flags a question I was going to bring up with Smythe.
Well, Blighty's on the Gold Coast.
Oh, well, not that so much. Was the torpedo. We saw it brought out in the Ted Witt Legends game, and Blighty was one that seemed to encourage it. I think his motto was, if you don't get onto it, put it away. Yep. But it's there to utilise it as a weapon.
Yeah, he was. He wanted the game to be fun, and he loved torpedoes. So
and he was quite good at
and we had some. Yeah, and he said to players, Matty Robin was very good at the torpedo. So he said, Matt, if you do torpedo and it works, keep using it. If it doesn't, put it away for the day. So it was that sort of rule for him.
Was he one of those coaches you felt you got close to?
Yeah, I thought he was a great teacher. I loved Malcolm, and he made the game fun, refreshing from particularly where the players have been the last couple of years, in '96. So yeah, I loved him as a coach.
I remember Darren Jarman saying to me, because I said to Fudd, "What did you enjoy most about playing for him?" He said the freedom to play outside the circle. He said, but after the game, he said he became really close with Blighty.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? He said, we used to sit out the back and have a fag and a pie together.
Well, don't forget, and he had already sacked his brother the first year he came in, so it was like, I only came back to play with my brother, really. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I can see through what you've done here. And, he was very social. And it was like, Thursday, don't ring me on playing golf. And it was, let's like before a game, it's like, I'm so excited. We're playing Geelong today, it's going to be a shootout. More, it's going to be first to 100. And we'll be going, we'll all play like that then.
Yeah, that's great,
he instilled that. Yes. I mean, he had a lot of great stories. He was the champion of most of his stories, and he won. So it was like,
well, that's why I like the torpedo, because after he kicked it, he said, nearly just 10 metres shy of where I launched the biggest one from.
Well, his is getting bigger and bigger. It used to be 85, now it's 100.
Well, just a year ago, he kicked it from behind the fence.
That's right. What about the comparisons, and they're inevitable, I guess, of the 97, 98 to this particular side now? We've discussed this on this show, Cavo, and on radio previously, is that you're discussing them ahead of time. I mean, you've got to a preliminary final. I think that's great. But any comparisons are...
We have to win a premiership before you can compare.
And even then...
And then you can't compare eras. But
I mean, even the players, as 20 years ago we played, but we're looking for some bridge of, the next generation to, premiership players at the Crows, and we're hoping we can do it. This year would be great because it can link it together. Carlton was very lucky; they had one every decade. It was the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. So we want to celebrate success, and they've been close a couple of times, but obviously it's not easy to win. We haven't been in another one since 20 years.
Well, I know you may not have a lot to do with him, but you're at the club, so he's around. Andrew Fagan, I'm a big fan of Fags. I liken it to Koshy at the moment. Koshy's off firing some shots. We never hear anything from Andrew Fagan. Very, very quiet, don't hear much. I mean, I know Keith Thomas is the equivalent in Port, but Fags and Chappie, you just don't hear much from them.
Yeah, only when you need to, I suppose. Fakes has sent out to his members about the finals a couple of weeks ago. It's great to be in the finals, and that's what it's about. And, he sent out some stuff lately about the finals tickets and that sort of thing. And we can't get everyone into the ground, if we happen to get through. But he's a very good people manager. I've met him several times and spent some time with him, and he's a very forward thinker and very good manager of people.
I love a guy. He's come from rugby, so it's someone outside the loop. That's what makes it interesting to say it's time to get outside and get the right people.
I loved, and I'm not sure whether it was legit. I think I saw it on the Triple M website. Was that when they had that sick day, you could get a sick day after their Thursday night game. Yeah. And I think Fago, Andrew said it's like with a bit. But to me, that showed a quality, and we talk about enjoying your environment as well as your game. That shows you something about that club at the moment. They seem to be in a good spot everywhere. Yeah,
I mean, that's what helps winning games and helps being on top.
Yeah.
We're not, it's a different sell than maybe some other clubs. So, yeah.
Hey, mate, the most asked question for you, is it the 97, 98 premiership or Tony Lockett hitting you in the jaw, mate? Which is the most important? The one you get asked
that was
the most.
20, what was it?
94?
94.
Yep.
Mother's Day, 94, Mother's Day massacre. So, I mean, people still mention it today.
It's amazing, isn't
and
it?
people do ask, you played both grand finals? I was like, I played on Barry Hall in one of them and a guy named Wayne Carey in the other.
Just a couple of...
So, it was just the right time, right place for me. And it was almost, some sort of karma that Tony ended up playing in a grand final, but never won one. Yep. And I went on and won two, so I was pretty fortunate.
But in saying that, Lockett, as dynamic as he wasn't a Buddy Franklin. We look at Franklin, and Lockett was as imposing for his group with that style of game. Franklin's the unique beast. How do you think you'd like to try and match up on him when you talk about Lockett, Carey, Franklin? Because they're kind of in that ilk.
Yeah, I mean, similar players to Franklin back then would have been Richardson, those sort of players. But he's just another different level than that. Those mobile guys, you got to be fast, you got to be fit, strong. You need to, he's a complete player, isn't he? He drags people through the turnstiles. He's awesome to watch. Just his move, he looks like he's just doing it easy.
All right, can we put Tex Walker in that then, just quickly?
Please.
Well, no. Well, I'm just wondering, where does Tex sit in your...
Well, I think they're just it's a different level.
Because he's 2 games off being a premiership.
But I'm saying it's like the grand final.
Yes.
He's got to do a bit more. He's on the way. I think he's a work in progress to get to that elite group. I don't think he's there.
For sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's a bit like Darren Jarman got some knocks before he really played well in big games, and then in '97, GF he kicked 5 in the last quarter and kicked 6.
Who's the best you played with? Who do you reckon the
Oh,
best?
play. I mean, just
You've had Miami, you've had Jarman, you've had
outstanding entertainment as a player when I was playing. Sometimes I was at the other end watching Tony Mondry going, "Oh my God, did he just do that?" And I was, "Oh, I'm in this game." It's like, he was just pure entertainment. He was just pure entertainment, jumping on people's heads, kicking goals, and he wasn't. He wasn't the best trainer. He was never, I'm going to spend heaps of time in the gym and run laps. And it just came natural to him, He was a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Fairly similar to Darren Jarman, and they were both on fairly similar. It's amazing how you get those guys that train religiously and they're stars, and then you've got the ones that don't, not one size fits all.
I don't know whether they'll survive nowadays, those guys.
No.
It's a really good point, isn't
In
it?
today's environment.
Yeah. Who's the best you think this year? Who's the best player you've seen this year? Is it Dusty Martin?
Buddy still looks good.
Buddy?
Duzzy's great to watch. I mean, isn't it great? Just you know he's going to give you the don't argue. No one can still get him. He still had 20 the other night. I'm going to give you the don't argue. Try to stop me.
I saw the stats. He's had 72 don't argues this year, and the next best was 26.
Yep.
Like he's just, I don't know.
He's a freak. He's
his
unbelievably
arm
strong.
longer than everyone else.
He's got another level last.
He's
last
really
18 months.
powerful if you look at him centre of gravity. Just quickly then, Rance, how do you rate him? Being a defender yourself. We want to talk about him being the best defender now of all time.
Wow.
He hasn't won 2 premierships.
That's drawing a long bar. I mean, Sylvani's very good. There was a
Rance, all mentioned at the same time.
In a small pocket. But he's an outstanding player, and it's hard for defenders to get that type of accolade consistently. You have to be a good player. I mean, I've just watched him close the other night. He was getting sort of beaten early, and Taylor had him a couple of weeks ago down at Geelong, and he just worked through it and just really broke it down. And you could sort of see where he went, let's not get ahead of myself. Let's just go back to basics, what I know I'm doing. But he attacks the ball. And I think that's what makes good players.
All right, let's get ahead of ourselves. Who do the Crows play next?
I think they play Sydney, and it'll be a blocky Friday night. Whoever wins that game will win the GF, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm a Richmond man, just quietly, KV, but I think Richmond get through to if they can't beat a depleted GWS and or a West Coast side that have travelled to Adelaide, to Sydney and then to Melbourne, I reckon they get through. But then they've got a game on their hands then.
All right, Peter Cave was our special guest.
Yeah,
Stay with
fantastic.
us. Plenty to come on the show.